Hello and welcome to the Collapse Experiment. If you enjoy this video, please remember to like and subscribe. After my last video, which would have been I am sick and tired of being sick and tired or something like that. I'm tired of being sick or you know the video I'm talking about. I did actually get a lot of good feedback from you guys out there. One person even emailed me a job suggestion. I've never heard of this company, but I went to their website and I was checking out a bunch of different stuff. And I have to say, I am legitimately interested. So I'm going to be looking further into that. And I signed up for some type of, it was like a talent email list thing. I hate the email stuff. I really do. But I did sign up for that in order to get like job postings and stuff sent to me, hopefully. So possibly that might pan out. I don't know like what the benefits are or if it's like seasonal work, because it seems to be a lot of like tree trimming, working with God, what else did I see on there? It was like flood areas and trying to get rid of invading species in certain areas. But overall, it seems like a job that I would legitimately be interested in doing. And half the time, people think for some reason I'm a lumberjack anyways. So it might be a good fit. And so the weather is still crap here. I still have something going on, but I do have to say I feel a lot better than I did even yesterday. So currently, I think it's like 6 degrees outside. When I went to work this morning, it was -10. And the battery of my car let me know it was -10. When you open your door and the dome light doesn't come on, it's not a good sign. When you turn the key and it goes, not exactly a good sign. Now it did start, but man, if you don't let the car warm up, that's the big thing. Because a lot of people, it's like, oh, it started, like, and then they think they can just sit there for 5 minutes and go from point A to point B, and then they wonder why their battery died. Your battery only charges once the battery itself gets up to a certain temperature. So unless that motor is hot enough to heat everything under the hood, your battery's not taking a charge until 10-15 minutes after you started your car. A lot of people I work with in my morning job haven't really figured out the science of like automotive stuff yet, because they live in town and they start their car and then they drive the 5 minutes to work and then they park their car and then 8 hours later they're getting to their car wondering, why won't this start? And it's like, well, you killed the battery when you started it, for one, and then you didn't leave it running long enough to actually recharge the battery because it wasn't warm. Your battery was still frozen. So, note to self, just because somebody works in a library surrounded by all kinds of the world's information at their fingertips doesn't necessarily make them smart. So today is playing catch up. Today is trying to get some writing done, hopefully getting a workout in. The kids are stuck home because, oh yeah, the wind chill is -23. So I don't know. When I was a kid, did anybody else remember this? Like, unless the snow was to the point where, like, the National Guard might get called out, we still went to school, right? That's kind of what I remember. Like, I don't remember it being cold enough ever for them to cancel school. I also don't remember there ever being enough snow on the ground for them to cancel school. It seemed like they just never canceled school. Like a snow day, super rare. This is like their fifth, sixth, 10th snow day so far this year. And I keep seeing some really horrible videos on YouTube about kids who cannot read, like 7th and 8th graders who are still at a second or third grade reading level. My second grader came home. She had this chart that she had made. It was like all of her New Year's goals. It's kind of neat. It had a little crystal ball at the top that did the countdown thing, and then it had like her plan for what she was going to do for the new year, which would have been really awesome if everything on it wasn't spelled wrong. Reading was spelled wrong. Doing better at everything was spelled wrong. Problem, as in math problems, problem was spelled wrong. So, me being the dad who's just like, I can't believe they sent this home. I was like, okay, sit down. We're going to work on this. So I had her look over it. Reading was spelled 2 different ways. Neither one of them were correct, by the way. And I was like, okay, here's what's wrong on here. And you're going to learn these. So I actually sat with her, and she had a dry erase board, and I had her repeat each word spelled correctly several times. And then I would have her do it again without having something to refer to. Because I'm like, if you're just looking at the word and copying it, you might get some muscle memory. Maybe, perhaps. But nope. Now, I go and erase everything. I'm like, all right, do it again. And she's like, but where's the word? You're supposed to be learning how to spell it. That's kind of how this whole thing works. So, yeah. And I've been working with her on trying to read a book every day after school, which hasn't happened for several weeks. And then she gets the TV taken away, and she gets the Switch taken away. And then eventually the only thing that they have left is the iPad. And of course, the iPad either dies really quick because the parental controls only limit it to 2 hours per day, or it gets taken away because they're fighting over the damn thing. And I've seen so many videos lately of all these teachers who are quitting working for schools because they're like, the kids don't respect us. They don't know jack by the time, and some of these are later school teachers, so like 7th, 8th grade teachers. And they're like, these kids aren't even past the 3rd grade. And somehow 5 years later, they're in my class. So the teachers are fed up with it. I saw some report about how the start of this school year, 51,000 teachers quit before the school year started. And there are these parents getting notifications of like, sorry, we don't have a teacher for your kid's class. I wonder why. Now, I'd like to think that the school that my kids go to is actually pretty good. And that probably has a lot to do with like my daughter bringing home awards every week for good conduct and all kinds of other things, which I'm like, how does that happen? Because she doesn't listen to shit from us at home. But for some reason, they like the hell out of her at school. But then she comes home with things like this chart for New Year's. And I'm like, this math is not adding up. Like, how does... There's still letters and numbers that she writes down backwards. That hasn't been corrected. And then there's the whole iPad thing. Like, they do a lot of their schooling on iPads, which royally pisses me off. It's like, do they not have school books anymore? No textbooks, no workbooks that they physically write in anymore. It's just log into your tablet and then everything gets computed. Is that what's happening here? Because that was one of the reasons why my wife decided not me, but she decided, like, I really think it's a good idea for her to have an iPad. Why? She has one at school already for I don't know why. And now all of a sudden she's got one at home too. Either way, it just seems like no kids have their nose in a book anymore. They're not required to read anything. Pretty soon she's going to be in high school having ChatGPT writing her papers for her, not knowing what the hell the papers say. On the upside, there was, and this might have been fixed, there was a study done where they actually had one of these AI programs write papers on a topic. And then these papers were printed out and they were taken to actual professors and graded. The smart professors, the really smart professors, were the only ones who noticed that all the references in the back of the paper as to like where the AI program got its information from were completely made up. Made up titles, authors, year of publication, who published the material. Everything was made up. They're like, well, the actual information in the paper was sound. However, the references in the back, this would be an F. This would be totally an F. So, unless they fix that, there is some hope. Unless there's just stupid teachers out there. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm worried about when it comes to them and all this crap that's happening in the schools. I'd like to think that the teachers, I'd like to think that the teachers have their best interest at heart. But then I have to worry, what the hell does that even mean? I haven't seen any rainbow flags or any of that bullshit. There's nobody running around with purple hair, weird piercings anywhere. There's no little name tags that with like pronouns on it. But some of the other local schools have had some issues with litter boxes. So we'll see. But in the meantime, I'm just doing what I can at home. And hopefully that puts them ahead of the rest of the herd, if you know what I mean. Because, man, some of these videos I saw, I was like, why does this all sound too familiar? Like I saw this coming, or I've actually witnessed it. Not around here, but somewhere else. On that note, keep on typing.